Hi, Jose Luis.
Hello, Danitza. How are you? How's everything going?
Everything's going well, good.
Okay, good to know. Let's start the class, okay? We have to cover today, perhaps we're going to cover 2 or 3 lessons because they are very short, and we're going to keep practicing our writing. But before covering these lessons, I don't know if you have any questions about the last class or about anything that you covered on Pearson, any doubts, any problems. Let me know, please, Danitza.
No, I don't have doubts about Pearson. And well, about Google Classroom, I couldn't see the material. So if we can see something that you might want me to, I don't know, um, um, can I say that? Um, Review or the next week. Yeah, so maybe like a task.
Okay. Okay, yes, remember, you have to be covering everything little by little, right? Because if you wait until the last moment, then it's
Mhm.
going to be a lot of work. Just remember, please, also, that needs I ask you that favor. So it's going to be a thing because I already have the approval from everyone. Remember that next week we won't have any activities. Okay, again, that's an exception, right? That's never going to happen again. It's just an exception for next week, and it's permission that I'm asking. So as I'm not going to be working with you next week, you can take advantage and again, you can work on your details. As I have a lot of things to do, perhaps I'm not going to be able to give you immediate feedback. But of course, as soon as I have the time, you can write next week after you're exploring with Pearson, and then I can help you with some doubts. Okay, but the idea is that you can cover everything little by little. For example, with what we're going to do today, and yes, actually today, we are finishing Unit 1 and we are studying perhaps the first and even the second part of Unit 2 because these lessons are very short. I know the knowledge that you got, so this is going to be quick and we're going to try to integrate all that knowledge mainly first in the skill that you want to practice, that is writing, but later on we're going to be integrating that also with speaking. But that's going to be the logic then, Danitza. All right, so you have to work according to this. You can be finishing also Unit 1, part of Unit 2. And during the week, right, next week, you tell me how you're doing with that. All right?
Okay, I have
All
a
right.
question.
Yes.
With Google Classroom, we are going to work together, right?
Yeah, I mean, Google Classroom, as I told you, is mainly for you to have access to the, let's say, to the presentations that I have for you, to the files that we use to write the examples. So it's to have everything organized over there, okay? That's mainly the purpose of having Google Classroom. But yes, everything that we have there, or at least, sorry, I don't know what happened. It got frozen. Okay, can you hear me, Danitza?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. I don't know what happened, but I was saying, yeah, everything. But remember something that I told you. If we have a lesson that you already know, we're not going to see that entire presentation. We're just going to see the most important details, but the presentations are going to be for you to use them in case you need them. Okay, so once again, it's not that we're going to use Google Classroom as a platform to do the assignments. The only assignment, or not assignment, the only thing we're going to do there to practice is using Google Docs. Okay, but again, the main purpose is to have all the material organized over there. And yes, of course, we're going to be using it little by little as long as we're covering everything in person as well.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, let's then start. Look, again, you're going to see this is going to be quick because these are very, very short things that we need to cover now, and we're going to apply them as a whole. So, the first thing is suggestions, Anitza. So, what ways do you know that you can use to express suggestions in English? How do you do it, for example?
Mm, just like an expression. Um, usual expressions? Are you asking me for that?
Okay, yes, anything that you say, right, that is going to imply a suggestion. If you want to give suggestions to people, what do you say? How do you express that exactly? So it can be expressions, or you can simply mention some words that are used for suggestions.
Okay. Well, let's. How about um I don't know if what do you think of could be 1, 2, 3. um Jeez. I think those three are like right now I have my
Yes,
heart.
it's great. It's more than enough. And here we're even not considering one of them that you mentioned. So it's great that you're adding that one. Okay, so again, remember, this is review, mainly trying to see if you have everything that you need for this level. So far, you do. So again, we're not covering anything too advanced yet. This is just, all right, the basic things that you should know. So again, this is going to be basic. So let's, that one, you have why don't, you have how about, and what about. Okay, here we're going to cover those three. Now let's, again, this is not going to be a grammar lesson. So taking a look at this, Danitza, when do you use let's? When do you decide that it is a good idea to use let's?
When you want to be when you well at least when you are in an environment that's like with your friends, you are good friends or some people who you know very well. It's
Okay.
more informal, I think. So.
Yes, yes. Usually, right, it's someone that you know, or at least you have the intention, right, to share a moment or to know. Because with let's, you're always included, right, or involved in that suggestion, right? It's not only for that person that you are giving the suggestion to, it's also for you, right? So imagine again, right? We don't know that well, Danitza, but this is for practicing. So if I say, I don't know what I can do this weekend, what suggestions can you give me with let's? Imagine that we are very close friends.
Let's go for a coffee.
Okay, let's go for a coffee. What else? What order? Try to give me three
Mm,
suggestions for the weekend.
it will be let's you know mm, let's play some songs.
Okay, yes, that seems interesting. One more,
Mm,
please.
let's take some pictures.
Okay, all right. Yes, those are suggestions. That's correct. What about something negative? What is something that you wouldn't suggest? And you should say something like, let's not. So, what do you say?
Mm,
What is something that is not a good idea for you to do on the weekend? So, give me a negative suggestion with that, please.
Um, because I think the weekend is so short. Let's not travel long distances. Um, could be one. Or let's not. Um, I can say let's not talk about other people. How can I say rumores? No chismosear. No recuerdo la palabra. Se me escapa.
That's gossiping or gossip.
Gossip. Sí, gossip. Let's
Uh-huh.
not gossip. Mm.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. That's a good idea. I agree. Right. That's not a good idea, perhaps, but good. Yeah. Those are right suggestions, affirmative, negative suggestions. Again, this is basic. I know you know this because this is not the practice. The practice is going to be in the writing exercise I'm going to give you in a moment because we're going to integrate these suggestions into a more real situation. Okay. So let's very simple. Why don't is the same, right, Anitza? But the only difference is that you have a possibility. It can be a suggestion for only that person or for you as well, right? So it can have the same meaning as let's, or it can be different than let's because it's only going to be for you, right? So I can say, why don't you go to this place? So I'm not going to go with you, right? Why don't you do it? It's a suggestion for you. I'm not including myself. But if you want to be included, you say, why don't we? Right? Why don't we do this and that? So it depends, of course, right, on the intention and the connection or relationship you have with that person. Again, that's obvious. And here we're only going to work with two examples, please, Anita. Give me one suggestion only for me, okay? And give me one suggestion for the both of us.
Hmm, why don't you write an article? And why don't I? Mm,
But in that
mm,
case, right, if you're involved, it's going to be we, right? Because it's going to
okay,
be
okay.
weird if you say only I. Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. Why don't we? Why don't we stay at home?
Yes, good. There you go. Why don't, right? Very simple. Now, how about and what about? You have the information over there, Danny, so you can read it. How can you explain using your own words? I mean, the difference between how about and what about, because they are different, right? Perhaps you know it. If you don't, take a look at this short explanation. You have how about explanation, what about explanation. So, what do you say? Using your own words, what's the difference between the two of them?
Mm, we, I think, organization really bad when checking. Mm, how about is more, I don't know, in a positive way? And what about, I think, for what I read, it's something that probably could not be able to, you know, um, something that has high probability to not occur, something like that.
Yes, of not occurring. Yes, that's a good verb. To occur, not occurring. Yes. And there you should use the gerund, right, of not occurring. So, yeah, actually, you can say, right, the real suggestion is how about. That's recommendation. That's something that you believe is a good idea to do, right? How about doing this? How about going to the party? How about having some coffee? How about traveling? How about this and that, right? Or how about we? So you have that option, right? But what about is not to give suggestions like just real suggestions. It's actually to bring some limitations, right? Some obstacles, to bring some situations that are going to, right, make what you have in mind not possible, or at least less possible, right? And that's why you have the idea of objection. So if you tell me, Danitza, right, let's go to the party, but I tell you, what about the quiz, right? We have a quiz, so we should study for the quiz, and perhaps we can go dancing, I don't know, right, tomorrow or next week, right? So it's always going to be an objection because I believe that there is something else that perhaps is going to be more important, right? So that idea. So you give me please now two things, Danitza. Give me one more time a suggestion. It can be just for me, but mainly in this case, it's going to be for the both of us once again, Danitza. And also try to explain a context in which you would use what about, okay, as I did, right? Let's say that someone tells me, let's go to the party, and I say, what about the quiz? We have to study because I believe that's more important. So I give that objection, right? So in the same way, please, then it's a one suggestion with how about and one explanation of a situation in which you would use what about.
Okay. Um, um, how about we go? how are we? Um, um, we spend the night sharing pictures. And the other could be because we don't have enough time to mm, mm, make our, I don't know, our homework or tasks. Um, we can uh, we can share pictures. This we can spend the time sharing pictures. So what about the, I don't know, the tasks and the things are um, I know are what about the tasks, um, I don't know, what can I say? Tasks, que tarea tasks that we have for tomorrow. So we can share pictures other day.
Yes, yes, some other day. Yeah, I can remember. Actually, anything that you say is valid, Danitza, as long as you believe that that's going to be something or more important or that is going to represent a limit, right? So yes, you can
Mhm.
mention tasks, homework, assignments. You can also mention your dog, right? Your dog, your cat, your nephew, your niece, any relative. You can mention any situation, right? What about I don't know, right? My brother's birthday. It is also tomorrow, so I have to be there. I cannot be there with you, right? Or what about my dog? I have to be there here with him. I have to feed him, and I don't know, right? So anything that you believe that is going to make it not possible or less possible to let's say, fulfill those expectations of doing that suggestion, it's going to be a good idea. All right. So, yes, it is good. So, with that, look, this short presentation is over. We have one more or perhaps two more, and then we are going to try to combine them into one writing exercise. But I want to know if you have questions about this. Remember, Danitza, we're just on the basics yet. We are going to see more advanced right stuff little by little, but we need to be sure that we have all the bases over right which we can be building more and more complex structures. So any questions about these three ways to express suggestions? Let me know, please.
Mm, I I have questions about how about,
Okay.
because I know that I can use with you know with a verb and with a gerund, or I'm not sure.
Mhm. Yeah, but what do you mean when you say a verb?
How about go to the party? How about something positive? But something like, how about staying in our house?
Uh-huh. Okay, look, if you say that's usually because gerund is also a verb, right? Actually, it is a verb that is functioning as a noun, right? But actually, if you want to talk about that grammatically, that's a verb. So you have three forms, right, in which you can show verbs in English. You have gerunds, you have infinitives, and you have the base form of that verb, right? And you
Mhm.
have rules. Actually, it would be incorrect if you use the base form after how about. If you only
Oh,
say how about go, it's incorrect. Okay? And why? Because the rule says that you have to use a gerund every time you have a preposition. And in this case, about
about.
is a preposition. Uh-huh.
Uh,
Exactly. So you're not going to say how about to go? No. How about go? No. How about going?
going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And if you want to use a verb in the base form, as you can see over here, you can use first a subject and then you use the base form of the verb, right? So you say, how about we dance? How about we go out? How about we travel? But it is more common that you use directly the gerund. Okay, so no infinitive, no base form. The gerund is the best option here. That it's
Okay. Or I have to use a subject before
correct.
the.
Exactly.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
that's okay.
Good. So there you go. Okay, that's the first part. Let's go to the second one. It's also a very short one, two and enough. So again, right? Don't feel pressured. You don't have to give me precise answers. You don't have to be grammar expert, okay? Just tell me what you know. And if you are not able perhaps to give the definition, you can show me some examples, all right? You can give me some examples. So what do you say about two and enough? What do you know about them? Again, you can give me some explanation. It's always good that you try to give me explanations. That's good for practicing. And also, if you don't find the words, you can give me some examples. So, what do you say? What do you know about them?
Okay. About no. Well, I use no when I want to show that something is good enough. That something is how can I say this? Something is you know, well, when I want to share a good opinion could be, and I want to make sure the other person that there is no problem with something. There, I use no. And two is in the opposite way. I want to express that is I don't know how can I say over limits about something, but in a negative way could be. That's could be my explanation.
Oh, okay, good. No, it's good. It's good. Give me now, please, two examples. Give me one example using enough and one using two, please.
Mm, um, I think my uh, I think my mm, professional career is good enough to apply for a scholarship.
That's
And
one, and one with two.
two, mm, mm, I I I have spent two um, two mm, I don't know. I have just only one sentence, just something like this. This is too good for you. It's something like in a negative way. Says that that is not supposed to be for you. Like
Okay.
that sentence.
Yes, that's a good one, right? When they say, right, it's too good to be true, they say, right? Too good to be true. Okay, yes, yes. And you're right. The explanation again, right? You're going to find the way to say those details. At least I got the idea and it's correct, right? Enough. Remember, you can always remember what I told you in the last class. If you don't find the words, always try to go to the most basic way to express that, right? So try to think, right, if it's something enough is just at the level of your expectations, right? So you can even, well, if you have your camera, right, you can show me something like this, right? Enough. These are my expectations, and this is what I got. Okay, so that's enough, right? It's at the exact point of something that you're looking for, right? You are looking for something. You want some characteristics. You have those characteristics, so that is enough, right? So you can go around and you can even, right? There's one word that is similar to that one. That it's a very similar to Spanish. That is sufficient, right? So enough is sufficient. When something is enough, it means that it suffices something. Okay, you can also say so. It's sufficient, all right, but it suffices because suffices is also a verb. Okay, so When something suffices your expectations, characteristics of something that you're looking for, that is enough.
Could you write that word for me?
Yes, it's very similar again. There's no much difference. That's going to be sending it now. Suffice, that's the verb itself, okay? And you say it suffices, right? Because I'm using the third person. Okay, so sufficient suffices. But again, suffices is because it's conjugation in third person and it's a verb. Okay, and two, as you were saying, it's negative because it's usually exaggeration, right? It's more than what you were expecting, right? So your expectations were here and it's over those expectations. So for example, you knew that the test was going to be difficult, but it was too difficult. So those were your expectations and the test was too difficult over those expectations, right? So you can always refer to these ideas in this way. All right. And of course, they have different usages, right? You can say that's enough. And that's going to be with a different purpose. But in this case, we're going to use them in the way you were explaining. I believe enough when it's sufficient, to when it's exaggerated, right? Let's go to cover the lesson. And again, you can ask questions anytime. Let's read this short explanation, please, Danitza, before seeing some of these examples and then go into the practice that we have for you.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, can you see? Yes, the presentation. Let's read that one, please. It says modifiers.
Okay. To and enough indicate degree. They modify adjectives, verbs, adverbs, and nouns.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. Here you have very simple examples, and this is the thing that I was telling you about too, right? It means more than what is needed. It's related to something exaggerated, right? And you have those three examples. He's too tired to play soccer, that box is too big, and the exam is too hard. Okay, so following these ideas, Danitza, try to give me just a couple of examples. What things were exaggerated? And it can be about your life, right? Something real, something that happened to you today, these days. I don't know. What was too something for you?
Okay. Mm, mm, I don't know. I don't know if this is the way that I can express this, but the mm, the present mornings are too cold for me.
Yes, that's valid. That's pretty good. Too cold for you. Yes. What else? Two more ideas. Two more ideas that you think that something is too something for you, for someone else, or even you can use the infinitive, right? It is too cold to go out, right? Or to be on the street, or it's too something to do something else, right? So you can use that combination if you want. So what do you say? Two more ideas, please.
Okay. I think the test um for me, for medicine's career are too large to prove the knowledge of the students.
Right? Okay, in that one, let's be sure that we're using the right, let's say, adjective, right? What do you mean when you say large? In what sense are you describing that?
Extensive.
Okay, I think that's better. Because large is mainly related to the size of something, right?
Mhm.
Not to the extension. So you can
Yes.
also say sometimes long or lengthy. Okay, lengthy, that's another option. I'm writing it. All right, that's it. Something lengthy is something that takes a lot of time to read or to finish it. And again, it's the idea of it takes a lot of time to finish, okay, because it's too long, let's say. All right, so
Okay.
that's another alternative that you have over there. Okay, that's one, too
Yes.
lengthy, too long. One more, please. One more idea with two.
Okay. Mm, yeah, she isn't too. I don't know. I know. Yeah, I don't know. She she is too tall to um, play ballet at the presentation.
Okay, you said too tall.
Yes. Yeah, I
Okay,
can. I guess.
all right. Okay. Yes. Yes. I mean, that's probably, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if there is a requirement for doing that. I don't have that knowledge. But yes, if the height could be a limit in that case, it is possible, of course, to say that. Okay. So yes, yes. Actually, I don't have that knowledge. So I'm going to say that it's okay. All right. But yeah,
Okay.
I mean, grammatically speaking is good. All right. Good. Two, right? It's very simple, but again, you have the knowledge there that needs it. Just let it, all right? Let it flow little by little because you have the words, you have the knowledge over there. I realized that also in the previous class. So try to write, risk it a little bit more, right? Say all the things. You have a lot of ideas there. Say, all right, say those ideas. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to say anything about any idea. Just say whatever comes to your mind. And again, we're just practicing. So the ideas that you have are going to be perfect. Okay. Now, the idea of this combination here, as you can see in these two examples, once again, is that you can use this with adjectives and adverbs, but the main purpose here, Danitza, is also to try to understand that they can work with infinitives to express that something is to something once again, right? And you can say the opposite, right? You can say he's too short to, right, play in the basketball team, right? He's too short to play in the basketball team. So it's always going to affect one, I don't know, right, area or field of that person's life. And that's what we expect when we use this exaggeration. It's very common to have the exaggeration next to one idea after it. All right, but you're going to try to apply this in writing. Take this into account because in a few minutes you're going to apply that. Now, we can also use too with nouns, right? Too much and too many. Now here, just because I want to be sure that you know this and you know it, I'm going to make you remember. What do you know about uncountable nouns, Danitza?
Uncountable nouns. Um, Uncountable nouns are things that you can separate. Yeah, just like water. I don't know. Are those kinds of things that are mostly impossible to separate in pieces. So that's an uncountable noun. So,
Yes, that's correct. And yes, the example was good. Water is one example. And sometimes, right, you can divide and you can separate them, but there is no sense in doing that. For example, cereal, right? Cereal is going to be uncountable. So if you want, if you have the time, you can count your cereal, right? Or even rice. If you have the time, once again, you can count, right, your pieces of rice over there. But there is no sense in doing that, right? You're not going to be saying, yes, I ate, right, 100 pieces of rice, right? You don't say that because there is no need. So it's because you cannot do it. or because there is no sense in doing it, or because actually it doesn't have any specific shape, right? But you have categories. So let's talk about those categories, right? You have liquids. But what liquids can you mention, Danitza?
Mm,
Just the ones that you remember.
liquids. Oil.
Yes.
Water. Oil. I, I think that's all I have.
And remember, anything that you can also drink, right? So you can mention coffee, tea,
Oh,
the water, juice, soup, right? All those things are going to be liquids, right?
okay.
So liquids, that's one category. Then in the second category, you have particles. So what examples can you give me of particles? Remember, we're talking about uncountable nouns.
Oh, salt.
Okay.
And and um, I want to say arena, but I don't
Flour.
remember.
Yes, flour, right? That's going to be flour. What else?
I have problems with that kind of combination of words when the pronunciation floor like
Yeah, I mean, it depends because look, it's going to change. It's not going to be one type only. If you exaggerate in that one, you can call it like flour. Okay, they call like flour. We need flour, and they talk about that. But flour is like the flour. So flour is going to be close to that one. And again, it depends. Many, not regions only in different countries, but in the same country, in different parts of the country, it is going to change. All right. And many of the words we're talking about, they are going to be pronounced differently, right? As it happens in any other country. You have different regions, and that same word is pronounced differently. And some people say one is correct, the other one is incorrect, right? So the two, at least the most common ones that I heard, is like flour and floor. All right, those two I think are the ones that are very common. I don't know the one that you know in the case of that word, Danitza.
flower, flower, no, floor. I don't know.
Okay,
It's not a usual word to hear in a conversation here because we don't have any costs.
yeah, yeah. I mean, but take a look at that again, and you're going to see that once again, more than taking a look at one right way to say that, there are many, but you're at least going to find two common ways of saying many of the words that we got. Okay,
Yeah.
but you have those ideas over there. What else? What
Yeah.
else do you have in mind as particles?
I don't know if rice is something like particle or
Yes, it is. It's part of that category.
okay. Um, that um, mm, stones. I don't know if stones um, are part of this category.
Because if you
Um,
say stones, are you talking about right stone, right? Stones, right?
yes,
Okay.
bigger
No,
stones.
because if you realize that's actually plural, right? You're making it plural because it's countable. Of course, you can
um,
have very little ones, right? But the, let's say, group is going to be considered something else, but they are not going to be considered as particles. All right, you have something
mm,
similar to that. What are other group of very little pieces of sometimes stones, pieces of something that you have on the ground and in many places? How do you call to those groups?
no, I don't have idea.
All right. Or for example, when you don't clean your room, what do you have there when you don't clean your room?
Oh, okay, okay. Ah, es polvo, pero
Mhm. It
no sé.
starts with a
I don't
D,
know.
like your
With
name. It starts with D, D of Danitza.
dust. Dust, right?
Dust. Dust. Exactly. Dust. And then you have something right when you, I don't know, let's say on the beach. All right. What do you have on the beach?
Mm,
What's the beach full of besides water, of course?
mm, mm. Uh, I'm sorry. I, I know that it's arena, arena, otra.
Yeah, that's the word. In English, it starts with S.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
No, I
And if
don't.
you watch this Sponge, all right, Bob SquarePants, all right, that's
Yes.
the name of the squirrel, right? And her name is Sandy. All right, so it's sand. Sand.
And,
All right, sand.
mm,
Okay, so again, those are particles, right? Again, and we're
mm,
taking a look at that because we need to know when we use much, when we use many. And we have tricky ones because one of the categories that it is going to be, let me see. Okay, we're good. We're good. One of the categories is going to be abstractions. So what do you have for that category? What do you say? What words that are abstractions, you know?
abstractions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, and this, I, I will say something that maybe it's a little bit wrong, but the space, the air, I know.
All right. Yes, air could be air. Actually, it's kind of weird, but it's going to be even inside the category of particles. All
Okay.
right, air being right, just particles around us. But yes, air is correct if you say that. Space, yeah, in a certain way, because actually it's not part of us abstraction. It is going to be part of another category we're not going to develop. That is the category of matter or things that don't have shape. All right. I mean, things, if something doesn't have a shape, for example, this is a mouse, right? This has a shape and this can be, of course, counted. But when
Mhm.
something doesn't have any shape, like, for example, space, right? Because it's just a whole thing that you cannot count because you don't know where it begins or it ends, right? That's also uncountable, right? And it's correct. But in abstractions is going to be mainly composed of words that we created to talk about things that we created. For example, what is the abstraction for all the coins that you have in your wallet or your purse or all the bills that you have over there? How do you call to that group? That's an abstraction.
I know.
Huh?
My
Just a name, right? What is that? What is a bill? What is a coin?
money.
Money. Yes, and money is abstraction, right? Because you don't say I have a lot of monies, right? I have two monies. Just money is an abstraction to
Oh,
talk about,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
So it's uncountable. What else? What is the abstraction for minutes, hours, years,
Time.
time? So those
Mm,
are the two most common abstractions. What
mm,
is the abstraction for feelings or emotions sometimes?
wow. Mm,
When
feelings
they are
and
positive, let's say. Well, what is the group of positive feelings and emotions? How do you describe that?
happiness.
Could be. But again, being general, it's not like the, of course, accurate description, but love, all right? Love in a certain way, right? Love being the sense in which you can describe something positive and you feel happiness, you feel kindness, right? And you have a lot of sensations that make you feel, all right? Love. So, love, you don't say, right, that you have one love, two loves. I don't know, right? But you say, right, you feel that feeling. So that's also uncountable. So that's also abstraction, right? Love is abstract, money is abstract, time is abstract, right? So all of those are uncountable. That's why you don't say time are or money are, right? It's always is with all of them. And there I wanted to mention this. That's why I was going there. And it's remember that when they are abstractions, they are uncountable. Even they are uncountable. They are just referred as to with singular is or this combination of words with much, right? Too much time, too much money, too much love. And you have some of them that are kind of weird. So, for example, I'm going to give you just some words and you tell me where they belong. Okay, just two or three. For example, the word advice. What is the word advice? Is it countable or uncountable and why?
Advice.
Mhm.
I think you can count advice because I think you can say, give me one advice, two advice, but even if you know that it's something you can count, I don't know.
All right. Yes, that's the logic, right? And again, that changes because language is just a reflection of culture, right? And in the English culture, advice actually is an abstraction. It's a set of ideas that you can give to someone, okay? A set of ideas. And it can be a piece of advice or two pieces of advice, right? But it's incorrect if you say, I have one advice for
Advice
you,
for you. Yes.
right? So you don't say, right, advices. You only say advices if you're using advice with S, right? Advise, and that's a verb, right? And you can say she advises you to finish your homework, right? So advises you. But if it's a noun, it's uncountable, right? So too much advice it would be. What about news? Is it countable or uncountable?
I will say uncountable.
Okay. If I ask you to give me, just try to give me one example using news. How would you use it?
And lately, I have been hearing too much um, bad news
Okay, all
about,
right. Yeah, go ahead, please, Anita.
yes, and that.
All right, good. Too much bad news. Yes, news, even though it finishes in S, it is uncountable, right? And you say, for example, news is, right? We don't say news are, we say news is because it is uncountable, right? And information also, it is one type of abstraction, all right? So I just wanted to reinforce that because it's important to remember those details. And here, once again, we still have the time. You're going to work on some writing exercise. Remember that you can use this. That means, all right, too much, too many. Too much for uncountable, sorry, and too many for countable nouns, right? And then we have enough. Remember, it's exactly what is needed when it's sufficient, when it suffices, right?
Mhm.
And you have those examples. And remember this, I don't know if you can explain the difference here, Danitz. Again, try to do it. What is happening in these three examples? Why do we have a change in some of them? What do you say in terms of the order over here?
Mm, I'm thinking. I'm still thinking. Mm,
And to help you with that one, you can answer this question. When do we use enough before the word? And when do we use enough after the word? Right? It describes, of course. When do we do it?
mm, oh, I think I don't know if this is related, but we saw a moment ago many times uncountables. You know, totally.
Yes, they are uncountable, but uncountable what? What are they? Are they adverbs? Are they adjectives? Are they verbs? Are they nouns? What are they?
Like here, um, they are like notes.
Okay, and what
Like
is intelligent in the third
uh, it's like an adjective.
one? Okay, good. Now look, in the next part, you have this. That's the explanation, all right? It's not here, I think. Yes. If you have an adjective or an adverb, it is going to be before enough. Okay, so intelligent enough, or old enough, or quickly enough, right? Adjective or adverb before enough. But you said it very well. Yes, money and time are uncountable. Yes, but they are uncountable nouns. So if you have nouns, you use them after enough. Okay, I have enough money, I have enough time, I have enough, I don't know, right? Clothing, I have enough, whatever you want, but it's going to be a noun, something that you can mention that, but it can be countable or uncountable. Okay, it doesn't matter. If it's countable, it's going to be plural. If it's countable, plural. If it's uncountable, of course, just the way it is. All right, but the rule is that if it's a noun, it has to be after now. All right, I just wanted to show you those rules. And now I want to try working on some writing exercise. But I don't know if you have questions, because again, the idea here is not that we are memorizing this, is that we try to do it and try to remember the few things that we covered here so that in the practice you can try remembering. Remember that you also have, Danitza, you have the presentations at your disposal. So when I ask you the examples, you can take a look at the presentations once again to help you with this. All right, my job here is going to be mainly to show you these details, to show you the things that you have to pay attention to make you practice and to make you notice what are the details that you have to improve or were not good, or if everything was great, well, then I'm not going to give right any observations there. But what do you say? Any specific questions about this? We have now a very short writing exercise. What do you say?
Uh, can we go the slides with adverbs?
With
Uh,
adverbs, just adverbs, adverbs and enough, or adverbs
yes,
and
adverbs.
to?
I don't know. Uh-huh.
Okay, this one,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Quick. I think I have. In my opinion, adverbs are very tricky because I mean you will know. Um, I think this. I don't know. I know that an adverb usually modify the verb, adding um, words like L and Y, right? So that's an adverb, right?
Yes, yeah, they are tricky, yes. But actually, look, it's not going to be as hard as you think. We're going to cover adverbs. I would say that 90 or 80% of the adverbs are going to be adverbs by adding ly, right? Quick, quickly, beautiful, beautifully, right? New, newly, and just add ly and it's an adverb, right? But you have other, let's say the 10 or the 20% that is not part of that group. It's because it is irregular, like well, right? Good, adjective, the adverb well, right? Or it's something that has a different way or it doesn't change. For example, fast, right? Fast is only past, or hard is only hard, late is only late, early is only early, only early. Okay, so you have actually a very specific list of exceptions, Danitza, but most of them are going to be with ly. And yes, they describe verbs, but they can also describe adjectives and they can describe other adverbs. Okay, so adverbs describe many things, adverbs, adjectives, and verbs mainly. Again, and mainly we're going to see them with verbs, but also adjectives can describe entire sentences or entire ideas sometimes, right? Because you can have
Yeah.
adverbs at the beginning or adverbs in the middle describing absolutely everything, how the action is happening or how that idea is being, let's say, stated or transmitted. Okay, so again, yes, they are complex. We cannot cover adverbs in just one lesson. It's very difficult. That's why adverbs are divided in many different lessons, and you see them more or less how to use them in that specific lesson, right? And for example, here, you know that if you have an adverb in this specific lesson, it is going to be before enough. But of
Mhm.
course, to be sure that you're using the adverb correctly. And how do we know? Because you are not describing we, you're not describing a noun, you're describing how we are not doing this action, that is walking, right? So quickly is describing this word, and enough is describing this entire action in this case, because this is also going to be considered a type of adverb. All right, enough.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I don't know if you have questions related to that specifically, Danitza, or if you want me to help you with some specific details about this adverb or some adverbs that you know.
No, that's okay. I think, as you mentioned, adverbs are very tricky. I always have problems to try to recognize what is the meaning, what is the because adverbs can give you context even and the tone of the idea.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
And don't worry, if you actually, that's what you can do. If you have an adverb in mind, you want to try, you want to see if it works there. When I ask you to write something, you can try and you
Oh
can put
yeah.
it there. Okay. And I'm going to let you know if it's okay. The idea is that you can experiment. All right. The only
Mhm.
way in which you can be sure that you're learning is by experimenting, to try some new words, try something else, and I'm going to let you know if it's working. And if it works, then you can integrate that little by little. And again, it's just going to be repeating, and well, having that word worked. Okay, so little by little. Let's try. Actually, in this exercise that I'm going to ask you to do, we're going to spend some minutes here, Danitza. You're going to try to use at least one adverb. Okay, just at least one, only one. But this is the idea. We covered suggestions, right? And we covered this in a certain way, two and enough. So I want you to imagine that you have your own blog, all right, or your web page on a website. And it is for people, I mean, it's for you giving recommendations for people that are visiting your city or your country or any place, okay, that you want. So you give them the welcome, right? Welcome to my website. You give a short introduction if you want, but that's not the most important part. Do it shortly. Then you, in the next part, you start giving recommendations, right? If you're coming to my city, to my town, to my village, right? It is a good idea to do this and this. And why don't you? So you can imagine that you are giving them recommendations in first person, and you can use some of those recommendations. If you know different ways to talk about recommendations, also do it. And you can talk about some characteristics of the city using this, right? And you say, if you are old enough, perhaps you can go and visit these nightclubs, or you can go to these places, right? Or if you are adventurous enough, you can go here and there. Or it can be with two, right? Or you can say, but be careful, right? Going to this place because it is too expensive. So I don't recommend you to go there, right? So again, I'm playing with the words, I'm making up everything, but that's the idea. That's what I want you to do, please. And it's a very shortly in one paragraph or a little bit more. Try to give a set of advices or write pieces of advice, sorry, and try to set, let's say, some characteristics of some of those places using to and enough to give that idea of intensity or degree to those ideas that you're writing there. But again, the main thing is that you can use these expressions in those paragraphs, perhaps. And once again, if you can try to apply the rules that you know about punctuation and some transitional words or phrases or some connectors or the fanboys that I was mentioning, and for or, you can do it. But let's try again, little by little. We have to be building this together. So I don't know if you have questions about what we're going to do, Danita. Let me know, please.
No, it's clear. I have to give some recommendations about places in my town.
Mhm. So let's do it, please. It's going to be again, let's try to do as much as you can in 5 minutes. Okay, that's going to be our limit. Let's have
Oh,
5 minutes and we check. All right.
okay. Lesson one in unit one, right?
Yes, it can still be part of unit one. That's correct.
And part of the lesson one?
Yeah, I mean, are you dividing that by
Lesson.
units? If it's by unit, this still can be part of unit one. If you use that, and I don't know, actually, you can divide it in the way that you want, because this is actually the third lesson already. So if you want, this is actually the second and the third lesson. So you can have a new one if you want, if it's by unit in the same unit. If it's by lesson, then you do it in different charts over there. Okay, that's up to you, Danitza.
Okay. Here, lesson three, two and enough.
All right. So we check in 5 minutes. All right. Let's work, please.
Okay. If you, um, I think uh, I don't have the link
Oh, yes.
um,
Yes.
could you
Remember that we're
please
always going to use the same element. Or
yes
what do you mean by the link? Eh,
on the last class we work in a sheet on Google
uh-huh.
Docs and I can find the
Okay.
um
Yeah, I have
that
it for you
specific
here.
page.
But remember that it's always going to be here, Danita. I'm showing you. You always
Yes.
go to classwork. You
Uh-huh.
go to classwork all units, and it says your name, right?
Ah,
Danita over there.
classwork
Uh-huh.
all units. Yes. Yeah.
There you go.
Mhm. Uh, um,
All right, so you are here. So again, you can do it over there as part of unit one, or you can do it in a different, well, part of the chart. That is going to be up to you.
okay.
And I leave you work then for 5 minutes, and we check then to finish.
Okay. Mhm.
All right, so you finished that last idea, please, and we check that.
Okay. I
All
think
right.
probably my blog, uh, having a blog for me is not a good idea.
Okay,
Uh,
no worries. Let's see anyway how you were able to handle it.
okay.
All right, so let's read everything you got, please.
Uh, okay. Um, okay. Welcome to Cochabamba. And here you will find enough food to gain more than five. I don't know how can I say libras.
Okay,
In
pounds. Mhm. Yeah, I'm going to
I
tell you in a while.
5 tons.
No, pounds with
Pounds.
P.
Pounds.
Uh-huh.
Yes, pounds. Oh my God, 5 pounds in a way. I don't know for the goods wealth. For most of the grand citizens, it's a good place to get a peaceful retirement. That word is wrong. Something good about the structure of the city is going to be related with the short distances because you can move from north to south in just only 15 minutes.
All right, good. Now again, details, right? There are details that we can always improve. We have words that we had to use, yes. Again, it's hard. I know it's always a challenge to use a lot of contents in one paragraph, okay? So I know that it's not going to be possible, but the attempt is always worth. Now, first, remember the rule, right? When you have something at the beginning that is not your, like in this case, right now, it's
Mhm.
an adverb related to time. In this case, is related to place in a certain way. So we need a comma. Exactly, right? So here, comma, you will find enough food to gain more than 5 pounds, right? In a week. Okay, we're going to also have this like big. Okay, in a week. Also, what do you mean when you say this? This is not clear. I think I cannot get it, but when you say also know for the good wealth, right? For mouse, and the next part I get it. But what do you mean by that introduction? Known or nobody good health?
It's no, gee, it's like Cochabamba is uh, described like the I don't know as town that has a good climate.
Okay, but that's what I was trying to get, because if you say wealth, wealth is related to richness. How rich
Yes,
is?
but you we have other word to say climate.
That's weather. The weather.
Sorry,
Uh-huh.
that's my word.
Don't worry. The weather, right? Okay. And here you're going to use double comma. Okay, so we're going to mark all of this.
Okay.
All right, so that you don't forget about that. So we have weather, and we have known. Yes, known. And here, why a comma also over here, Danitza? Because also is your introduction for addition. So also, additionally, plus, and comma, known for the good weather. That's what you call an interrupter. Okay, that's a parenthetical phrase, right? Parenthetical phrase. It works like parentheses, but it's only a phrase over there, right? So for most of the grand citizens, yes. And also remember, another way is to use this, all right, to say senior citizens. This is more common, all right, if you say senior citizens. For most of the senior citizens, and actually this is also um, like something extra,
Yes, yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and here you say it actually. All right, so you have a lot of extra things and it's good. All right, it is rich in this way. But you remember that because here, if that's the case, we need another subject. Okay, that is going to be it because you're talking about something that is kind of an abstraction in this case. So it is a good place to get a peaceful retirement. Yes, it's not bad if you say that. Something good about the structure of the city is, yes, this is the subject in this case, is going to be related. You say going related or to be related to. All right, so the preposition here is going to be to something related to. All right, the short distances because you can move from south, no, north, sorry, to south in just only, this is going to be like redundancy. All right, because in this case, just is going to have a very close and even the same meaning as only. Okay, just only. And again, if you want to be very emphatic, is good, Anita. But grammatically speaking, it's always a recommendation to keep one of
Just
them.
one. Okay.
In just 15 minutes or in only 15 minutes, because actually in this context, they are like synonyms. Okay, so I'm going to put one of them in parentheses and remember that one of them 15 minutes. Yes. And again, the rest of it, it seems that it is working. Just be careful with those details, all right? The commas before the real subjects, these parenthetical phrases or interrupters that are going to be in commas, and then you have the real sentence because here your real sentence is this one, right? Everything before that, it's long, but everything is extra, right?
Yes.
And then you have the next part. So good, that's it. One more time. I don't know if you have questions about these details. Let me know, please, Danitza.
No, I don't have questions, but I have an idea. What
Mhm.
about like copy the paragraph um, below, and then there make the adjustments
Okay.
because now I think I know the expression, the idea is clear, but I will not be able to compare or be.
Okay,
Um,
yes, yes, of course. Usually, what I do, I was not doing this yet, Anita, because this is like something extra. But actually, if you're going to consider that and you're going to take it into account, what I usually do is I just write a comment. Okay, so I do this
oh,
and I write a comment, so you have the correction here. All right, so it's going to be
mm,
marked and you see. So this is another way. So if you prefer what you're telling me, I can do that. I also can show you with this, with the comments. If this works for you, we can keep it. If not, we just have the two paragraphs to compare them. But the two ways are going to be there for you, right? I'm going to do it your way as well. So this is going to be also very interesting what you're telling me. So you have a real comparison of the two elements, right? With the corrections and without the corrections. So yeah, let's apply that from the next one. But give me please a reminder. Okay, so if I start doing this, you tell me, hey, Luis, right? You have to do it in a different paragraph. You have to remind me, okay? But we're
okay,
going to do it. Great. So anything else, Danitza? Do you have any other questions or comments before finishing? Because we're finishing today.
no, I think my paragraphs are I don't know. Um, really need an order. That's why I have 5 commas here, correct? I think so.
All
So,
right.
well, I know I will improve my paragraphs, but well, thank you for the corrections.
Yeah.
I think I use this as a resource. I don't know how can I say or what is the correct form to express here, and also I don't know. It's like I don't know how can I say that recurso right now here also expression of time or because it's I think mm, uh, grammatically that probably have a name to express this kind of sources. I don't know to use in
Yeah.
a paragraph.
Yeah, I mean, you can just say the name, but if you say sources, yes, these are different, right? Grammatical sources, tools that you have to express something, to connect
Mhm.
ideas. And yes, and mainly perhaps you can call in this case tools, or right, grammatical tools or tools to express, right, what you want, to have a certain order, to connect ideas, to finish statements, to give like intensity to something, to reduce intensity, right? It can have many, let's say, usages. But yeah, I mean, first of all, again, don't worry, because the idea here of the first practice that we're doing little by little, Danitza, is not to give you directly all the words. Because what happens if we start applying just the words, like the transitional words, it's sometimes going to be forced, and sometimes we use them everywhere. And that's not going to be also the case. All right. So what you're doing here, actually, it can be more natural, and it doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel also like too divided. I believe it's good. All right. Of course, if you want to compare this to academic writing, we are missing some things. But first, this has to be clear. All right. These commas, these elements, so as at least if this is going to be like reduced in terms of mistakes, all right, by a certain percentage, we're going to be including some other details, all right. But first, I really want you to feel more comfortable, and I really want you to show me in the first case that you can manage these works in any order that you want, and then we're going to be applying certain structure to make it even better.
Okay.
All right, so
Okay.
that's going to be like a gradual process. All right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, good. So as always, please, Danitza, I'm sharing the survey for today, the poll. You have it over there. So one more time, please remember, we are not going to see each other next week. Okay, we're going to resume our classes on July the 10th. Okay, Monday, July the 10th. It means that this week, please, try to focus on a Pearson. Try to complete, if you can. You have more time to complete everything, because as we are, let's say, changing the calendar, also the Pearson due date changed. So you have all those extra days to finish everything.
Oh,
But again, if you can take advantage and work in these days that we're not going to be working together, perhaps that's going to be a better idea. But you still have extra days, these 3 extra days to complete everything. If it was the 12th, I believe now it's going to be the 19th or the 17th, something like that. Okay,
okay.
good. There you go. So I hope you have a good night. Enjoy your weekend. Also enjoy your week next week. And I'll see you on Monday the 10th. All right?
Okay, Luis. Same for you.
Thank
Both
you.
for you.
Bye bye. Enjoy your days. Okay? Take care.
Stay warm. Bye.
Bye bye.